Beloved star, welcome to Immortal Starlight Pod, episode 26. And yeah, in the last two podcasts, I shared one of finding the song of your true name. I think that was episode 24. If you want to look back to that transmission, which is a moment also when you can attune to that holy, that sacred name of light, your true name of light, and also of reclaiming our wisdom mind. And I've been very much within these transmissions myself, while also walking within the golden, elven, oaken groves of Ele Shianora, which within Elven Aurora we are walking in our journey of the dawn in the membership, but also for myself, it is a constellation of the homelands of my own interdimensional being, Elven and of the light, woven, long since remembered, of Earth, of Oriel, of this seventh dimensional and beyond Earth, that is composing, recomposing at a physical and cellular level, which is quite extraordinary. I have this sentience at the moment, if I could describe the quality of the moment, of the return that has been longed for, being absolutely 100% activated, of the crystalline presence of the homelands, the home worlds of the earth, that we remember, that we know that we are returning, absolutely present at this physical level. And to walk in these golden, elven, oaken groves at the level of this is, yeah, it is beyond exquisite. And with it, as this has been approaching all the way through this year, as I've spoken of with the handing over of the keys of power to our physical reality, the switch over, really, that a great handing over, so that our physical reality that we are dreaming, we are creating into being, is inflowing from this level of that which we are, and of source, and of creation as earth. And so we have been so much within this, and I find within that what's really interesting, and I was speaking with someone about this yesterday, that it's as though all of the other timeline variants of my own being are dissolving out, have been in this great departure. And I spoke of that in a pod before, I think, of the departure and these aspects of deepest metamorphosis. And with that, it feels almost like being brought to a point, like the point, or is it the head of the needle or the point of the pin, just that which wishes to be created, existed within, is of this golden, iconic, solar, divine avatar, light and presencing. And within that, it's almost as though things are less spacious in some ways. This is how I feel it at the moment, as that switch over is really taking place now. And I don't have this movement between the timeline variations or variants of my own being. It is this commitment. It is this deepest, entire, ultimate commitment to this diamond, crystalline, solar reality of Earth, Oriel, Gaia, Tara, seventh dimensional and beyond creation. And it's really phasing through very tangibly within the earthen self, which is so fascinating. Until this hour of the dawn, I have never felt that in this way. And that's what all of the light codes that we've been weaving, the rainbow bridges of dawn, recreating as the ones who we are, have been moving towards. And now our own crystalline diamond codes are inflowing on that rainbow bridge, and forging presence, forging the reality. And it feels, it goes beyond being fully known or thought yet. Just the beingness of this, it's in exploration, it's in formation. And yet within that, what is so discernible is this unbroken source connection within self through to the physical embodiment of those immortal starlight and diamond source codes, each one of our own star of I am presence. The homelands that rise up, that rise up are generated through our own source and diamond presence, each one in alignment with the heart of creation, with source, with all that is, as the infinite and eternal souls that we are. And so a really extraordinary shift point and very tender departures, as I say, within the space of that, of anything that is less than that absolutely authentic sourcing. And that's to do with where we give our energy, but also from where once we receive it. So any energetic dynamics that we've set up within any strata of our being that are not of this are, through our own volition and choice, dissolving out, which can leave us very tired or depleted or even down at points, because those old sourcing patterns are dissolving out. And we're just really synchronizing consciously now into what it is that we are at this hour of the dawn. And so, yeah, quite extraordinary. And my feeling is that spaciousness will return, not the spaciousness of before, that I think was an interesting type. I realized I was kind of in movement between aspects, and there was an element of fragmentation between timeline variants, and that supported the coherent evolution of being up to that point, being able to stay in body, be here, be whole in continuity, in the joy of life, staying grounded. But that passage serving its purpose, moving out, so that spaciousness not returning. So I recognize no impulse to the return of that dimensional spatiality and movement, but that there is nascent or being born, being birthed within the space of this new level of presencing that is of earth and diamond light. Also, I'll come back to this earth and diamond light, that there's a spatiality, a spaciousness within this that I feel, and a temporality, a timeliness that is now unique, and each one will discover this unto and for ourselves from within our own diamond light code sequencing. But that we will feel again that spaciousness, that quality of spaciousness, of having enough time and space, of falling into the divine cadence and music of our beings. And so to reference that the spatiality being born feels, it is that extraordinary multidimensional, interdimensional continuity, each one that we hold through dimensions and worlds. And that pertains to what we might see as earth, as star, as galaxy, as parallel universe of light, in as much as it refers to what we might see as past, ancient, as present, as future, and and then enfolded within all what we might call the timeless, infinite, eternal dimensionality of that which we are. And that all of that is enfolding into, if you like, with all of those divisions collapsing, those timeline divisions into a new experience. And this is quite exquisite in how we might experience that in the living moment. And I find I'm flashing in and out of it. It's like I'm there, and it's moving through an awareness and moving through an embodiment, and then kind of my consciousness phases out, or what I call blips out, can't hold the awareness any further. And so just gently letting that pass, and coming back to the organic sequencing of what presents in conscious, naturally, moment to moment, remaining in the beauty of our wholeness with where we are. This invitation is deeply underway. but the spatiality, temporality of the new experience, I feel within that invitation, and this brings me back to the oaks of Nora, who are the golden elven oaks, long since seated on the earth. They've risen in every great starlight age of the earth, aeon upon aeon, and timelessly exist through other elven planes in parallel universes of light, known, as I remember, of Evalianon, Evalon, and seeded through the immortal starlight, holding their own infinite creational wisdom and architecture, part of the architecture of universes of light, and its intelligencing through many layers. And they bring the quality at one level of strength, these great oaks. As we know, the oak brings this oaken strength, and the strength of the beauty of the repetition of our beingness, of receiving ourselves over and over again, of not feeling propelled by the frequencies into thinking we need to innovate, abandon, change ourselves, walk away from the love that we are and that we've always been. That there is part of the oaken wisdom feels there's never any call to innovate on the love that we are, but that the love that we are, that core tonal note and vibration, that which you most love is the love that you are. They are synonymous, and is that the right expression of that word? They are one and the same. The love that you are, that which you love, brings us full circle over and over. And that bears infinite repetition, that vibration of that which you are. We are just beginning to sound that with all of its diamond, infinite quantum purity and truth, wholeness, immediacy, into the fabric of creation, the song of that which we are. And so this bears infinite repetition. No need to innovate on who you are, to your loved ones, to all around you, to your reality. Yeah, to sink into, rest into the beauty of that which you are, to sound that beautiful note. No one is ever going to tired or grow bored of the note of the vibration of that which you are within creation, any more than we come to that great strong oak with that mighty trunk and feel regretful that it stayed so true to itself and that it got so big and strong and that it perpetuated its divine blueprint and pattern of creation to the point where it stands with such a mighty girth upon this earth, so deeply rooted, with such branches overarching ahead. So that our explorations, our adventures are always summoning us into the adventure, into the light of that which we are, its ultimate, infinite honoring. And so with that brings me to that sense of that holy name, that sacred name of the one who we are, that core tonal note and vibration of the song of the one who you are. It is those fields of distortion that would love to convince us that we should be doing something else, being something else, innovating, changing, layering over the simplicity, the purity, the directness of that which we are. And so that is one of the aspects of this. And within this, we feel, to come back to the temporality, the spatiality of this experiencing. As I say, I'm referring now across a threshold that I haven't yet reached myself. This feels to be pointing to the wave of what is to come. It's part of the summoning of the wave that we've seeded and that we are walking into now, flying into now. But that we shall experience those corridors of light, if you like. It's within this now moment of the stars that we belong to, of those stellar galactic planes. I found, sinking in evening meditation in gratitude for my day and stilling into the heart of my golden elven temple of the dawn here upon Oriel, Gaia, that is part of her being. and stilling in gratitude with my animal guardian by my side, and feeling the starships inflowing from Andromeda and arriving in from Corona Borealis through my own elven sequencing of star lineage. And this beautiful echoing affirmation through the planes. It's like we're just beginning to create together again through the sequencing of our star lineage of this great evolution that we've dreamt through the planes, to be able to play and enjoy through the multidimensional plane of your being, of who you are. So with this, that also this beautiful spatiality through galactic and stellar planes, the affirmation of the play of our interdimensionality. It's always been our design, that sacred human and original design of our being, of our diamond light bodies, is this, that we experience ourselves through all worlds, here and now. And that is part of the mystery of the Elder Books of Light. Now, whether we write an Elder Book of Light, or whether we are bearers, diamond light code bearers of our diamond light codes, here to inscribe, to inform, to bring that through the presence of the one who we are, but that part of that that temporality, that new temporality is that, and spatiality is this sentience that we are receiving, this stream, this direct stream of diamond light code sequencing of the elder light of that which we are, and that is resetting and generating architectures of creation, past, present, future. And it is quantum divine. So when we receive our diamond light codes, and these are those of which the eternal and infinite light of the elder books of starlight are written, for those of us called to write them, to inscribe them, we are seeding those energetical architectures through planes. We are working at once in the future, in what we might see as the ancient past, in what we know as this divine and now moment of the present, and we are finding ourselves in this extraordinary transcription that belongs to other worlds as well as to the earth all at once. It is a sense of causation, if you like, that is simultaneous through different zones of temporality, but also through space, through galactic, stellar, and parallel universes of light, that the creation within them, when we're at the level of diamond light code creation, is simultaneous. And we feel this wisdom aspect, and that brings me to what I spoke of in the last pod. We feel the wisdom that we are activating, that we are through all of those planes simultaneously, and that we are seeding for the ascension and for the evolution that is simultaneous through many, many, many planes. And so it is an amazing sense of accessing wisdom that is beyond us and yet of us. I often say within, when I say that's what's within you, and I'm aware that often it isn't within our body, as it were, yet what we are accessing with this. And yet it is of the within, of that which we are, of the soul star, of the innermost self that we are bringing through now, these diamond light codes of the dawn, that I am presence. And with that wisdom that is inherent to the diamond light codes, to the elder books of light, that we are simultaneously carrying, seeding, bearing, causational of, through planes, past, present, future, that we are also inhabiting a kind of epical legend, fairy tale, and fable of worlds. That somehow there is to this diamond light code information and divine quantum reality a level that is of a consciousness of awareness that is legendary, and of the ultimate fairy tale and fable of the self. And we begin to feel that the cadences of a greater story that we dwell within. And that's all within that resting into that which we are. We begin to feel, we feel how what we are in this moment belongs to something so much greater. A story so much greater. We begin to feel that. I remember a moment in the forests of California during a drought when I was visiting there and on pilgrimage there, walking and receiving and seeding the diamond light codes of the silver and the golden wheels. I could talk to you forever today about all of this. My partner said yesterday I was talking non-stop. I'm not sure where the stars are right now, but there must be a fiery communication light taking place. So I could talk to you forever today, but I can't talk for very much longer. I will wrap this up in a moment. But I'd love to talk more of the golden and the silver wheels and all of this, but it just reminds me in the sense of that greater story, that fable, that legend. And I had my two small children and my husband, and we just bought this wreck of a car. We didn't know it was wrecked. It looked fine in its car lot of in San Diego. And we had this, and this, everything had been put into this, all of our resources, bought a tent, and that was how we would be living. We'd given up our home and we were on this journey. And we discovered a fault with our car, but I'd felt so divinely guided to this car, and I was really leading through my intuitional being this journey of my family. And I remember really feeling such fear at that point, really wondering, have I led us all astray? Am I in alignment? And where will the resources come from for this journey I'm called to, and so forth. And I danced in a pine forest there, and as I danced, and really that simultaneous awareness that one can hold when you fall into fear of that great overlighting of one's own divine angelical presence and source-like connection that is still present. Even when we're in fear, we can still feel it's still present. We just aware that there is a part that has fallen deep into fear, and needing to embrace that with the divine light of that which we are, and call forth what's needed for that part to come home, to receive what it needs. And as I danced in that transfigurative holding light of source, of the divine consciousness, present to the fear that was running through my veins and my body, I saw these violet feathers lying tiny in the forest floor, in this sere, dry forest floor, these glowing tiny violet feathers everywhere. And as I looked, they were everywhere, appearing out of what looked sere and brown everywhere. And it was this extraordinary message that as you follow this greater fable and story and legend of your being that is guiding you in something so much vaster than your human self, or many around you can see right now, you will be looked after. You will receive everything that you need. The rain will fall. It will be gifted, but only if you stay in attunement to this greatest legend and fairy tale and song of your being. It's more than my being that exists on layers vaster than this. And so I was able to hold this great journey with peanuts in our bank accounts and so forth, but in deepest trust with my two small children and husband in this great voyage. And speaking of the elder books of light and sequencing of the diamond light codes, that was where so much of this was gifted and landed and synchronized with the earth and body here. And so that's a story for another day, but I mention this because our diamond light code holds these qualities of wisdom, of the legend and the fairy tale and the fable of our greater being. But there's a third strand too, which is the beauty aspect. So the wisdom, the legend, and the beauty of the diamond light codes, each one of our being, to rest into, to retrieve, to receive those visionary, sensorial beauty aspects, the beauty that you love. As Rumi, the mystic poet, speaks, this has carried me through so much. The beauty that you love, let that be what you do. And So that beauty of your holy name, of the one who you are, of the dimensions that you love. For me, it's that elven golden dimensionality. I trust that beauty. It is core, it is key. And as I spoke in the last pod, it yields so much more than simply the beauty. It yields wisdom. It yields the greater story. It yields the legend, the fairy tale, the fable of who you truly are. And as we come into the lighted filaments of our diamond light codes, we activate these strands of our own wisdom, our own legend, our own beauty. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share for this pod. I don't think I gave it a title at the beginning. In my guidance I received at the beginning, they said it's the Elder Books of Light. And when I'm sharing how to access the Elder Books of Light, that's part of what I share, is how to, and it's part of how I received the silver wheel, is to know them. And again, even if you're not writing an Elder Book of Light, are as elder souls of the dawn returning, bringing the light codes of parallel dimensions of light. We are each one bringing through these codes, whether we write it and inscribe it or whether we become it and we are this, and we bring it through different media in our existence. But each one of us, that you can know that you can access it through these three aspects. They are inherent to the divine source light intelligence of the heart of creation itself, the cadences of the legend, of the wisdom, of the beauty. And I think there's been a lot of distortion often, in the spiritual systems of the last era. And I'm sure that they have their reason for having come into being, but almost that seem to want to strip us of these facets, constantly strip us of that sentience within, of the direct, each one of us, that knowing of our own wisdom, of our own legend and fairy tale and fable, of our own beauty. And while all of this unfolds and must unfold from, we can only access it from the most profound non-attachment, from the emptiness, from the mystery. This is energy composing itself in mystery, the diamond light codes composing themselves in mystery, in emptiness, in the unformed, if you like, that gifts itself from there. Yet that is not a reason to abandon ourselves to formlessness, if you like, to continuously abandon or neglect or let go of resting into offering the beauty, the wisdom, the legend of who we are to this world. So I feel that's one of my passions, is to that particular illusion in the spiritual world is not one that I adhere to. And within the elven remembrance, the significance as unique lighted beings within creation, that we remember who we are. Such a precious gift that so we do, and that we walk this earth as who we are. So much love. This Elven Pod, Immortal Starlight, number 26, and the Elder Books of Light, and knowing you have this access to these strands of your own, to rest into them now. They're coming through as never before. So much love, and I shall see you next time. Farewell for now.